On the 31st of December, a young man was born to the family of late Mr. and Mrs. Okor. The family did rejoice over his birth and celebrated his entry into the world gracefully. At age 5, his dad, Mr. Okor, a savvy pilot, went to be with the Lord in a sad turn of events on the 4th of January 1982, barely 4 days after his birthday. The family mourned his loss, which ushered in tough times for his mom, Mrs. Margaret Okor. In the midst of all this, God still remained faithful, and in the year 1980, this young boy was admitted into St. Mary's Private School at Jele Street, Lagos. From there on, he went to Nigerian Navy Secondary School, Ojo, Lagos State, in the year 1988. Again, things took another wrong turn in the year 1994, when he lost his mom on the 27th of December, just 4 days before his birthday yet again. This put him and his sister in a gruesome place unimaginable, a situation that was a far cry to what they had been exposed to during their childhood. Family, friends, relatives, and even the church rose up to the challenge, offering them succor. But this young man, even though he was in 4 days' time to turn 18 years, decided to assume responsibility for himself and rather allow the church cater for his sister's emotional and spiritual needs. Wrong move. As time revealed, he was somewhat ill-prepared for what lied ahead. Particular appreciation goes to Bishop David and Esther Beninok of the Communion Church, Surveyor Akankpo D. and Irene Anium, his seemingly adopted parents, Mrs. Ann Duke, Mrs. Georgina Ekpeyon, Architect George and Martha Duke, Dr. Ray and Dr. Mrs. Julia Duke, McRae, His Excellency Donald and Owanari Duke, his inspiration, the late Chief of Staff to the Governor, Mr. James Anium of blessed memory, Mr. Achi Antonio Duke, for the adventurous point and kill mentoring, Mrs. Ansa Akwa, who indulged a bit of his decadent nature by handing him his first line and phone, Mrs. Bassi Oeyo, who stood by him and his sister when the military infringed on their rights. The late Dr. Edmund Solomon of blessed memory, with his charming wife, still with us today, Dr. and Mrs. Amako, Mrs. Egan Otare, Mrs. Afion Omisheson, and Mr. Bill and his beautiful family based in Atlanta, United States of America. Other great men of valor includes Chief Gershom Henshaw for taking a gamble on him professionally, Mr. Sigismund and Polly Fernandez, Honorable Ekpokun for his indefatigable push for better opportunities as a professional during this moment of grief. Their support definitely gave him hope, with a good measure of fresh air in spite of the seemingly dark clouds hovering. This helped him find courage to face life's challenges, so riddled with uncertainties. Time will fail us to mention Mrs. Tinuola Akonde ni Oni, Mrs. Kemi ni Akinjohns, Miss Buki Afolabi ni Bakare, Mrs. Latin ni Onawale, Mr. Gbenga Alabi, Mr. Ishebuge Ogbiko, Mr. Sheima, just to mention a few, who were his classmates as at the time at Nigerian Navy Secondary School, Ojo, Lagos, when he lost his mom. Jostling between making models, creating exotic hampers to support himself financially. He also added selling turntable LPs to various private broadcasting corporations, including the likes of African Independent Television, AIT, Rhythm FM, but couldn't break the glass ceiling with them, and was close to beginning with Cool FM when he got an admission to read architecture in the University of Ife, Ile-Ife, Osun State. While there, he faced some setbacks while seeking to strike a balanced schooling when it presented itself, and decided to pursue a degree instead through JAMB in the prestigious University of Nigeria, Nsukka, Enugu, to continue his pursuit in training as an architect, where he bagged a 2-1, a second-class upper division, before proceeding to do his master's and serve his fatherland. Soon after leaving his place of primary assignment in service to his fatherland, NYSC in Abia State, Nigeria, his breakthrough came in the guise of service with proper mentoring from Surveyor Akankpo D. Anium, Architect Alaba Oduniyi, Architect George Duke, and Architect Joe Esesien, which over time of pupillage created and registered Van Excel Consult Limited, a design and build outfit, winning his first ever contract to design and build the second home residence of the late Ntoyo of blessed memory, overseen by Chief Gershom Henshaw, another pillar of his success on his quest to greatness. Above all, God remained ever so faithful to this young man despite the odds, as he never for a single day had need to visit a pharmacy talk less of a hospital since being confirmed an orphan. In fact, the turnaround moment for him was when he faced his greatest challenge of losing his right thumb, which would have denied him furthering his studies in architecture, being that all fingers needed to be on deck. From a simple blister, it escalated to a cancerous situation as described by a private medical consultant in Lagos, in the person of Dr. Mbanefo, who advised it be cut off to avoid further spread. The young man yelled, decreed, and declared otherwise, daring God to rise to the occasion, and as inspired, got a car battery, dipped the right thumb into it to kill whatever was building. At least he thought to himself, what difference would it make if I had perished? But interestingly, it worked to the amazement of the medical practitioner. Along came with it a consciousnness of God's interest in his affairs, as yet again God was merciful, and he was awarded a scholarship also to complete his studies at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. This quickened his faith, and he developed confidence that nothing was beyond reach. It was during this period that he met and married his lovely wife, Mrs. Folashade Ololade Oko, a rare breed of a lady who brought out the best in him, as being witnessed today. Soon after, he realized he needed to do more to increase his portfolio, as responsibilities began to build day by day. Yet again, God was faithful, and in the last 8 years, this boy, in the person of Mr. Oko Emmanuel Bassey, who remains the managing partner to Vanexel Consult Limited, has been favored with lots of projects to his belt, listing both local and international clients. He reflects on his life this period. Mr. Oko will like to use this opportunity to say to friends and family alike that we should constantly learn to live in the consciousness of the inevitability of death. As we were born, so shall we all die. What comes next is what we are remembered for and what we leave behind. No matter where you are in your personal struggle, always remember you can rise from obscurity and cloud of uncertainties to a place of prominence, as described in Romans 8:28-32. To all who took a gamble on the broken boy and helped him in his journey to relevance, we pray that God's mercy and love will be extended to your children wherever they go. For I know you all didn't see this coming, but it's honestly from a grateful heart. Once again I say thank you.